Hi everyone, this is Greg. Good to have you back for a whiskey review. Yes, back on track. Today I'm going to speak a bit about BUSHMILLS Distillery and about an expression in particular which I will review, which is the BUSHMILLS single malt, because BUSHMILLS there's also and mainly blended whiskies, but they do also single malts, and this is an exclusive edition called also matured in first fill sherry cask expression. It was an early 2021 release in France, but I think it has been released in other countries before, hence for instance in Germany, and I will also put the link to Jason's from Whiskey Jason review in English, because he did review this earlier on. And while I was going to start reviews about letter B Scottish distilleries, I just recalled, oh, I gotta do this one, and a quick survey or rundown overview of the rest of the ones I have before going back to Scottish whiskies. So I'm going to review this single malt, and I'm going to try 4 other whiskies, not all because it will be too long and too complicated, but this is a relatively recent release. Had the time to try it 3 times now, so I think I can start to speak about it. What can I say also? Yeah, very quickly, thanks for everyone who commented the previous video in French and in English. It was a bit special, so I understand it could have been a bit weird to some people, but anyway, thanks for any constructive comment and support. I appreciated that. What are we talking about today? We're talking about, and this could have been in my demystifying whiskey marketing tricks, because there's a bit of a trick here. This is a whiskey book, but it shows a nice picture of the old BUSHMILLS Distillery, which has been rebuilt at some occasion, and so BUSHMILLS is in Northern Ireland, and of course Whiskey Novice, I have new beautiful coins topping some of the whiskies of today, is the best YouTuber to speak about that, because he lives in Antrim, which is the area where the distillery is located. And why do I say demystifying marketing tricks? Because the distillery claims to be going back to 1608, which is not exactly true, because as some records about Northern Ireland illicit distilleries go back to 2097, but it's hard to find evidences about that. If I'm wrong, please tell me, and Whiskey Novice Jim in particular. But what is sure is the license to distill was granted in 1608 to all the distilleries of the Antrim area. But the official license of the distillery, of the old BUSHMILLS distillery, goes back to 1784. The distillery is the second biggest distillery of Northern Ireland, end of all Ireland after Middleton. Middleton produces 64 millions of liter of pure alcohol per annum, where Bushmills it's only 4.5 millions. The distillery did shortly, I'm going to do very short history, was under Irish Distillers property before getting into Diageo in 2005, and finally to Casa Cuervo from Jose Cuervo, the tequila brand company, in 2014. What else can I say? It has 4 wash stills, 5 spirit stills, and a huge mash tun and washbacks, like many of those big distilleries in Ireland, because they produce a lot of blended whiskies. The distillery has been extended and hopes to be producing 9 millions in 2022. What else can I say quickly? There were in 19th century there were still a lot of distilleries in Northern Ireland. One can count 12 distilleries by the beginning of the 20th century, but the two others of the 3 remained in the late mid or late 20th century, and for instance there were Cumber Distillery, who closed in 1953, while there were also Colouring Distillery, which closed in 1978. So while now there are other distilleries, new distilleries built now. Not going to talk about the new Irish scene because I'm not as specialist. I'm working on it, but I cannot speak a lot about it yet. Bushmills Distillery also, and we're gonna do a short speech. I'm gonna do a short digression about that, about the distillery house style. Well, I'm gonna compare also with Middleton and 2 Scottish distilleries about some technical summarized, don't worry, it's not too geeky things, because I wanted to dig a bit more into the style and why there is this style at Bushmills and Middleton, and how it compares on timing issues with 2 other distilleries. So I haven't visited any Irish distillery yet. Yeah, I know, shame on me. And neither I have all the expressions home from the core range or from the limited editions, but I have some. I have reviewed already the 21 years old on my channel, so I'm gonna put a link if you want to know more about this expression. I am not going to review today, neither taste. Also, I'm keeping this very special bottle for another occasion. It's a bottle that had a problem of evaporation, so I had to gas it and to seal it for a while, and it will deserve a special video, I think, because it's a beautiful undisclosed Bushmills single cask and rum cask, which is interesting and works, in my opinion, particularly well with the Bushmills style. This is a joint bottling between the Nectar of the Daily Dram, the Belgian indie bottler, and La Maison du Whisky, the French importer and retailer. And this is 42.2, and this is cask 16 to 62. But we're going to see that in another episode. So we're gonna taste this, which is the, sorry for the light, it's very bright on one side and not enough on the other. So this is sometimes called the original or smooth and mellow. This is the entry-level blended whiskey from BUSHMILLS. In the case you don't know much about what is the characteristic of mainly but not all Irish distilleries, they use triple distillation, contrarily to most of the Scottish ones, which use only two distillation. This is believed to be the oldest way of doing whiskey, which is triple distilling. Of course, I'm not speaking about the early days, 15th century in Scotland and 13 in Ireland. Well, of course, illicit stills, there's not even question of second or third. It's only one distillation most of the time, I guess, I believe. I'm not sure. And the cut could be problematic as well, as it was very amateurish everywhere in the world in the early days. What else can I say? So BUSHMILLS is triple distilled, whether it is the blended whiskies or the single malts, while for instance, yes, Middleton, the concurrent who does Jameson, is also triple distilled. But for instance, Cooley Distillery and most of the Teeling whiskey which came from the stock of the Cooley aka Kilbeggan distillery are like Tyrconnell or Connemara are double distilled only. Okay, that presentation finished. I'm gonna speak a bit about the original. Now all the whiskies we're gonna try today except the last one, I'm gonna save this for last because it is 46% ABV, but all the others we're gonna try today are 40% ABV, caramel colored and chill filtered. Now it is the producer's choice. From what I know since 20 years, it's the current offer, even for some high-end whiskies such as the 21 years old. It's a distillery's choice. It's also because many of the blended whiskies are also considered to be mixers, as often, not always. Yeah, so it is debatable, is always debated for some reviewers, especially the ones that have not much experience or taste, which is both understandable. With blended whiskies, many people now are going to higher ABVs and cannot get why and how this can work at 40%. But I'm gonna try to demonstrate that it can work at 40% and it can also be stunning at 40%. Then after, everyone can agree or disagree. We're gonna start, because the review might be very long, I warn you, but I'm gonna put some timings as usual, so no excuse for those interested in a bit more in-depth reviews than just 5 minutes, which is also understandable. Excuse me. So what is this one? This is a blend whiskey with corn, a majority of corn and a minority of malted barley. The characteristic of the malted barley of BUSHMILLS is it is unpeated. Now in the 19th centuries, lots of distilleries in Scotland and Ireland were using peat from their peat bogs because it was on hand and it was not forbidden. Now most areas are protected, even in other countries, so you cannot, contrarily to Scotland, and even in Scotland you have to have the right to dig to get some peat. I guess if it's in a certain amounts for providing for a distillery, I guess you cannot do what you want. But in Ireland it seems, while there's a very tiny parcel where they can take, because I know Connemara used local peat at some time, Not probably for the core range, but we're going to speak about Connemara another time. But yeah, this is unpeated, and this is triple distilled. This is a lot of grain, and what I like in this expression, first, it is cheap. It's around 15 to 17 euros here. This is, we're gonna get to it in a second. So of course, color in that case, it's very light, isn't a very relevant question. Also, the legs, I can see they're very quickly descending on the bottom of the glass. So hence the low ABV, hence the chill filtration, and at a young age. It is said to be 5 years old. So yeah, I'm gonna do the Bushmills original or smooth and mellow, then I'm gonna do the Black Bush, then I'm gonna do the 12 years old, and then I'm gonna do the 608 for you. But I'm gonna spend a bit more time with the 12 years old first fill sherry. It is very smooth, it is sweet, it is very pleasant, it is floral, there are lots of almonds, even some creamy almonds. For me, there's some esters, not really a lot of tropical fruit, but some English licorice, all sorts, a hint of pineapple. I don't think there's any sherry in there. For me, it's really a bourbon driven whiskey. I had this nice tube also with it, because most of the time it doesn't come with a box. Yeah. So lots of fruit, some honey as well. I'm gonna try it neat. Some grassy elements, hints of pepper, soft, ginger and pepper, but it's quite soft. It's watery a bit, it's quickly fading, but it's creamy, it's almost silky. I have to say it's very pleasant as an aperitif, with a few drops of water in a cocktail, but I'm gonna surprise you, also delicious on ice. And of course, for the purist, it is better in with a nice bowl than small cubes. It melts slower, and you can have a better experience. So yeah, I'm not gonna review whiskies which I don't have in my collection, and so this is not exhaustive. For instance, I tried the Red Bush once and I liked it. I don't have the steamship collection, it's not accessible here. The Causeway collection as well, those are two limited release series ranges where you can find either in travel retail for the steamship or in some retailers only for the Causeway collection. Again, please head over to Whiskey Novice or Whiskey Jason, for instance, channels to learn more about those expressions. So lovely aperitif light whiskey, blended whiskey, so don't search for burst of alcohol, for a superpower and stuff. It's basically grain and a bit of malt. Lovely, very pleasant, fruity, floral, easygoing, nicely, very well balanced. You will be surprised. This is a bottle from 2013. You will be very surprised that I reached around 89 as a rating because of its super balance and beautiful craft. If I may say, it's an industrial distillery, but there is care brought to this one. So if you're not expecting for a flavor bomb, but something sweet, very well made, like the young Glen Grant when it's a good batch, the no age statement. More sweetness, creamy vanilla, hints of lemon, slight hint of orange and apricot. Again, the pineapple behind it. Pineapple and exotic fruit, other exotic fruit, mango, etc. Are really the characteristics of older Bushmills, and especially in the single malt territory. And they're often more, these notes are often more enhanced and justice made to them in indie bottlings. Is another thing I will point out again. Especially undisclosed indie bottling really offers some possibilities to get some high-end and very good Bushmills for a decent price, at least a few years ago. Don't know now. Bushmills, it's once you pass the blended whiskies and the entry-level single malts, it can get very expensive. It's one of the complaints I can do to them. Now we're moving to the Black Bush, which is one of the flagship, I have to say, of this distillery. Black Bush is an expression which highlights more the Oloroso sherry casks that are more used for this expression. And this one is a bottle from 2008, and it's was retailing around 20 euros. Now it's a bit more. Still a blended whiskey, but with a, I think probably, I'm not 100% sure, a higher proportion of malt and especially of sherry casks. And it's said to be 7 to 9 years old, but it's not disclosed. So we're gonna go on the palette, and yeah, first one was topped by the last drop coin, an old coin. Second one, so the Black Bush, is topped with a new drum drinker and Mrs. New Drum Drinker coin. So the color, even if there's some added, is a bit darker. You can smell a bit more the sherry notes, but it's still very subtle, very melted. Don't forget it's triple distilled and 40% and chill filtered. But it's very pleasant. It's a very nice aperitif. Forget to say cheers. So there you go. With this expression, you're starting with the massive use of sherry casks. You're starting to get the characteristic aroma and flavor-wise, more flavor, I would say. So on the palate of the typical Irish whiskies, whether they're single pot stills, as we say now, so malted and unmalted barley and no corn, or whether they're blended whiskies using some of it. And for me, the typical notes are those, now sometimes on the sugary side, sometimes on the sour side. I will go back to this. So they're really showcasing for me the typical, and I had to translate some notes to be sure, of blackcurrant and blackcurrant bud especially notes. And these added to some praline or praline cream slash cashew slash peanut. So some arachids, as we say here. These and the red fruit and ripe fruit, and especially the black currant, and also some blackberries sometimes, and we'll see other notes, but it's all about those kind of notes that are highlighted in those Irish typical whiskies like this one, even if this one is on the soft side, very sweet, very entry level, but they're still delivering. Very nice introduction to for those who don't know about whiskey at all, about Irish whiskey, with doing no harm. So we're starting, it is watery, but we're starting to get those notes which will be more highlighted in the single malt. And this is true also more highlighted, I have to say, in Powers blend from Middleton, for instance. Okay, I'm gonna add a few drops of water, and we're gonna move now a bit longer to the single malts or the blended whiskies with a high malt content. So when you chew it, you have more of this ripe fruits, red fruits on the berry side. So all the fruits from the forest, blackberries, also berries. So for the French or bilingual audience, this note of blackcurrant bud, you translate it into bourgeon de cassis. Blackcurrant is cassis. Then blackberries is mûr. Gooseberry is groseille à maquereau, and it's when it turns a bit sour. Some brands, for instance, Tullamore 12 years old, sherry cask finish, is very sour, very acidic, even almost pickled cherries notes. Yeah, so this remains very sweet. But it's a progression I'm doing. So I wanted you to get the evolution of the Bushmill style. Now I don't have the Bushmills 10 years old, which has never been in my early experience my favorite expression. I didn't like it. I shall probably try it nowadays. It's been a long time I haven't tried, but I'm not very attracted to it. For me, this is this praline style and peanut style, and also some bitterness of the grassy elements and even of the blackcurrant, but goes too far in the 10 years old. So it's not the expression I really dig from this distillery. Now on to this, which is the main reason of this review, which comes with this box. So this appeared in France by the beginning, or in March, to be more precise, 2001. I saw it on a supermarket on offer, and I saw Whiskey Jason's review in English, and I said, oh, interesting. If it's at a fair price, I should maybe give it a go. So except a lot of marketing blah blah, what does it say? Yeah, Ellen Mulholland is the master blender from Bushmills. So it says she travels each year to Cherries in Spain to choose the best sherry casks for the maturation of our whiskey. Top grade oak sherry butts are set aside and seasoned with olives of sherry forget the noise of the crows, a bit annoying here. I'm under the attic, and they're fed by my neighbor, so they come across often at this hour. I'm sorry. Yeah, so they're seasoned with olives of sherry for 2 years. 2 years is not so bad. Before the journey to the BUSHMILLS Distillery. This limited expression, 12 years old, single malt, has spent its entire life in the finest first fill olives or sherry casks on the nose. A deep sherry aroma gives way to rich flavors of dried fruits, raisins, and nuts. We'll see. Okay, so it says it's an exclusive edition, but it doesn't say exclusive of what and where and what about. And it also says matured in first fill sherry cask. Now that said, the problem is it's still 40% ABV. Now it's single malt, so it's 100% and triple distilled malted barley, but it's still a bit not going completely on the full flavor side, if I may say. But let's not be prejudiced against it. Oh yeah, forgot to speak about the price. The retailing price at my local great supermarket was around 40 euros, but there was a promotional lunch price which made it go down to 26 euro and 33 cents. So it was, for me, a very decent price, which is almost exactly the same as the Black Bush. So very interesting price. At that price, of course, I recommend it, and at 40 euros, sorry, for those who don't have any Bushmills, who don't have an expression I forgot to mention, is the 16 years old 3 wood, which has now become most of the time no age stated, but we still can find a bit more expensive, around 60 to more often 80, 90 euros, Bushmills 16 single malt, which I recommend. But this is okay for 40 euros, maybe 45, but 50, 60 and more, no, I don't think so. Now this one is, did I state it? Oh, I thought I was there. I had the reference. Excuse me. Let me see there. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure it is from 2021. Could be from late 2020. Anyway, let's not lose much time with it. This is my file again. You can't see nothing. I know, I'm sorry. Yeah, first time I tried it, I was disappointed, and I rated it 76 out of 100 because of too much sourness and this very strong gooseberry note, a lot of acidity, but this note fortunately decreased, and on the second and even more the third tasting, and we're gonna see how it behaves today, sorry. It's my first review for a long time, so I'm a bit apologies. This one is topped with a new drum drinker coin on the bottle kill style. And there you have the color, I may say, because, and again, it's caramel colored, so what can we say? The legs, they're sticking a bit more, so maybe it's age related, and also it's bolder. I have to say they're beautiful. I don't know if you can see them, it's very difficult. This is yeah, but they go slow, but they inevitably go down quite quick now. Now on the nose, right away the sherry strikes, because it's of course dominating here, if not exclusively present. It is by the way exclusive first fill sherry. So you got the sherry notes, this typical red fruit, and also this typical Irish, not blackcurrant bud necessarily, but it got us also some strawberry feel, not fields, feel. Strawberries come second, and third you have those gooseberry, so slight of sourness. And I'm gonna go back to this around my conclusion, or maybe after this. So sour cherries, ripe cherries, a bit of blackberries as well. Nice but demanding nose for me, but much better than the first tasting. Cheers. No. So, again, still a bit subdued, a bit firm, oak-wise, a bit tannic. This is not super uber fruity. Last time, for instance, it was more fruity. It's a bit strange. It's kind of a roller coaster, maybe, like Jason said. This has been poured 10 minutes, 15, now 20, oh, more, half an hour ago. Whoops, it's only water, so no problem. Yeah, I gotta get used back to do reviews. I'm sorry, guys. Gonna need a bit more. It's quite, it still has some sugary elements, but also some strong sour elements. It has some kind of balanced, almost pickled style, as some Old Pulteney has, for those who wonder about Scotch. I'm gonna try with water, and before getting to the two last whiskies, which probably do deserve a separate review, but I'm gonna go quick on them. Yeah, for some reason, which is chemical reaction to sudden addition of water, I like it better with a few drops of water. So maybe 38% ABV, believe me or not, because it agitates the alcohol and the flavors, and they can reach a bit more to the top. Probably now, don't take my word for granted, this will need more opening, more oxidation. And probably this, when it will come here to the name of the distillery, I think it will probably express itself more. But still, it's more concentrated than the Black Bush, for instance. And at 26 euros, it's super decent price. And even a 35, let's say, okay, 40, but not more. I still recommend it. The rating has increased a bit since the first time, but I have to correct it a bit. Drop a half point, for instance, because of this shyness on the expressivity, and drop it to 84. But 84 it's not a bad rating. Also, once again, depends on the price. Now, before we go further to another expression, but I still can let it there maybe. Okay, no, let's put it back here. I want to do a quick parenthesis or digression about the distillery style Bushmills has, and some other Irish distilleries has sometimes. What I did is compare on my books and archives the timing during the production process used by Midleton and Bushmills for the mashing, fermentation and distillation, and the use of casks. And then I compared it a bit to Balblair and Dalmore. Even if you put the cask aside, because for Midleton they use it, of course it's an average statement. 20% bourbon cask and 80% sherry for Midleton, while for Bushmills it's 70% bourbon cask and 30% sherry, usually. While, for instance, Balblair uses less sherry casks normally than Dalmore. But yet Dalmore still uses bourbon casks. Now, the mashing, brassage in French, the mashing time is almost the same for Midleton and Bushmills, so 6 hours for Midleton and 6.5 for Bushmills. But the fermentation can change a lot. And I believe those sour notes, those pickled notes, come from a longer fermentation, in my opinion. This is also the reason why tomating, I think, has those notes, and when it's young it's very yeasty, it's very sour, and I kind of struggled with their style when they're very young. But staying at Ireland and Northern Ireland, Midleton in Republic of Ireland and Bushmills in Northern Ireland. So fermentation times for Midleton is 55 hours, usually, while the fermentation times can go from 38 to 110 hours at Bushmills. So we don't know for which expressions and which occasion, and maybe it's a mix of mashes and fermentation vessels content mixed together. So we don't know exactly, but it can go up to 110 hours, which is a lot. It's a very long fermentation. Now the distillation time is also different. Those two makes 3 distillations, so it can be compared. The middle cut, so distillation times for Midleton is 10 hours, while it's 6 hours only for Bushmills. So maybe this makes a difference also in the way it is refined, in the way it is. So I put the debate on the table. I cannot state a conclusion, a sure conclusion about this, but I wanted to put that into the table. Maybe for people like Homeboot in Eladi Whiskey Nerd, he could dig a bit more about this. I don't know. And yeah, why do I wanted to do a comparison with Scotland? It's because I was very surprised when I visited the same day, by the way, both Balblair and Dalmore. The mash tun and also the fermentation vessel. When I was there, the smell that was on the room was very surprising according to the final style of the whiskey for me. Let me explain. While I was expecting very a big sweetness at Dalmore, the room was filled with quite a sour mash smell. So very sour. So I was surprised. While when I was at Balblair, it was the contrary. It was super sweet. Now, while the mashing time is almost the same, 6 hours for Balblair and 7 hours for Dalmore, the fermentation time is way quicker, shorter at Dalmore, 48 hours, while at Balblair, 55 to 96. So this kind of contradicts my statement with the previous one, but this is intriguing me, so that's why I'm evoking this. Now, distillation hours are almost the same, while the cut is wider at Balblair, 80% ABV to 63, and 71 to 62.5 for Dalmore. So I don't conclude anything now, but just put this to your appreciation and maybe in further investigation. Okay, now we're gonna go to one of my very favorite, if not favorite, core range. It was not core range, it was travel retail. It's getting hot here, that's why I'm not also at ease. And it is not in the bottle usually, but I put it back into the bottle, at least some of it, to show it to you. It's the stunning Select Cask Travel Retail Expression Caribbean Rum Cask. Finish 12 years old, 2008, I'm sorry, so it's discontinued. And for me, it's part of my top 70 whiskies I have tried, around almost 4,000. Some people might be shocked by this statement because it's 40% ABV. It's 1 liter, by the way. But for me, it's one of the most complex, the most refined, the most beautiful Bushmills single malt ever released. Of course, I tried single cask, hack cask strength, etc. back in the days, Whiskey Live, etc. And they were superb, but I didn't bought them, unfortunately, because they don't do often cask strength, and it's a shame. I mean, officially. So this one, I poured it earlier on, and again with a Whiskey Novice coin. Thanks, Jim. Damn, it's gonna be 1 hour video again. Right off the bat, absolutely beautiful exotic fruit notes coming from the rum cask. Forgot to mention this one is bourbon and sherry and then rum finish. Finish and married in. This one combines the most beautiful exotic notes, fruit notes, pineapple, mango, papaya, with some of the sherry notes we like and that are typically Irish. So this blackcurrant bad again, hint of blackcurrant as well, also this typical peanut, crushed peanut and praline in French note, which we love usually in Irish whiskey. So quite clear. Again, it's caramel colored, most probably. Yeah, they say double wood because it's bourbon sherry and then married in rum casks. So some nice vanilla as well. Some hints of grassiness, which you can find in the 10 years old, but not in the 16 and in the blended whiskies, not much. Oh my God. This is for me the quintessential Irish whiskey. Maybe the ultimate one at 40%. This and probably the Redbreast, okay, from the concurrent. And the Powers John Lane 46%. This is really about balance, complexity, and serenity, and some kind of paradise profile, if I may say. And the length, several minutes. This, I bought it in 2008 at its launch for 50 euros a liter. And honestly, I waited to open it and then it was sold out. But I should have bought several bottles, let me tell you. I still have some in another smaller bottle, but this is pure gold. This is masterpiece. Comes this very nice tube which explains things here. Yeah, dark chocolate I don't get so much. I don't have my notes here because it's one of my early whiskies, and the files of all the notes are buried somewhere. I don't have access to it now, but I still have the whiskey, so this is endlessly developing, and this is absolutely beautifully opening with the air, and maybe with a few drops, maybe, I know. So this is, I should stop with this one. This is going on and on and on. Exotic fruit, blackcurrant bud, vanilla, lemon, sweet spices, some grassiness. It's beautifully floral notes, very complex. Okay, it's 40%. Well, one of the most beautiful 40% I ever tried. Let's stop with this. This is a super sipper. Honestly, one of the most beautiful sipper. I believe this could be topping well a vanilla or lemon curd sherbet. Could be amazing in pairing. Pledging Legend from Whiskey Novice, topping last but not least 46% for 100th anniversary, coming on with a luxury cardboard, 2 parts, and even there's a plastic protecting, and there's a booklet inside. Anniversary edition, and it is 90% malt. No, what do I say now? Yeah. 90% malted barley, 10% grain, and in the malted barley, 30% is crystal malt, which is some kind of re-toasted, very refined kind of malt. Let me see if I can tell you a bit more, because it's a long time I haven't Oh, I forgot to mention this, which is very interesting. Inside the so a royal license was granted to Sir Thomas Phillips in 608 to distill Ushka Beata with the territory called the Roti in Co-Antrim. But in 743, the BUSHMILLS Distillery is in the hand, quote, of smugglers, according to Alfred Barnard, the Victorian whisky journalist. Now in 1784, the old BUSHMILLS Distillery is officially registered as a company. The pot still becomes its trademark. As you can see it there, and you can see it there. 1890, the SS BUSHMILLS Distillery steamship makes its maiden voyage across the Atlantic to deliver BUSHMILLS to whiskey to America. In 1942, the old BUSHMILLS Distillery is partly converted to accommodate American and other Allied forces servicemen. 2008, a unique whiskey making tradition lives on the Ireland's oldest working distillery. And then it says, yeah, crystal malt is called like this because of this translucid aspect of the barley. The crystal malt is obtained with a longer drying time, which provokes crystallization of sugar, which is in the barley, and gives the whiskey a sweetness and mellow taste, which is exceptional, according to them. Yeah, so you get a bit more info now about this. Excuse me. Yeah, so 1608, this is my second and last bottle. This is something I also enjoyed and also got for around 55 euros. And it's 46%. So you will see that it changes. Okay, it's a Glenlivet glass, I'm sorry. But it's a beautiful glass. Some sourness on the nose, a lot of sherry, a big refinement on the malted barley, some firmness of the oak as well. Did I say it was also 7 to 9 years old? But quite a big, elegant, fat, floral, fruity, vanilla and oak and spice driven nose. Now on the palate. Wow. It's not unchill filtered, but it comes across like it was unchill filtered. Because of 46, I guess. It's very rich. It's almost a single malt. It's different from the first fill sherry 12. I think it's better. But it goes more... I'm not sure of the recipe of the cask involved there, but I will say there's a great balance between bourbon and sherry cask in there. It's a beautiful array of casks, so quite a very complex whiskey, different from the 12 select cask as well, the Caribbean rum finish. I believe those two are the best of my collection with the 21, and if it was full flavored, the undisclosed 24. And yeah, I get some dark chocolate there as well, even some wax. This has some kind of cleanlish nose. Some nice raisins and prunes coming from the sherry cask as well. Kind of a resinous note, but very positive. Super complex whiskey, super gorgeous nose. Don't have the... I think it's around, I rated around 90 to 94, I don't remember. This, you won't believe the rating. 97. Yes, I'm sorry. Stunning mix of everything Irish. So everything I said: floral, fruity, nutty, praline, crushed peanut, etc. Everything inside, tightly held in a very complex and flavorful bouquet, and bouquets on the nose, but proposal on the palate. It's super balanced. Now, that said, this is the first batch, one of the first batches. I see this is still available. I am not telling you now that every batch is as well as this one. I can't. So if you can, try before you buy in a bar and get to see which reference it has. If you can find the date, yeah, there's a reference code there, but it's engraved. It's very hard to I cannot even read it now. I don't want to lose time. Now, with a few drops, has a silkiness, waxiness, elegance, not creaminess like in the... This is super classy. It seems that the malted barley there, it's way more subtle than the average of what they have, indeed. If you can get this, or this one with the early batches from 2008, go for it. Don't spend 100 and more on that, but 70, yeah. Really fantastic whiskey. Now, on another review, I don't know when, because I'm really hesitating to open it. I will review this at some point. This was bottled in 2014. It was a friendly gift. Let me put a beautiful label here. But yeah, there you have it, a quick overview of my Bushmills collection. Again, I'm going to put a link for the 21 years old video in which I taste it and also speak about the distillery. If you like this video, click on the like button. If you want to know more about new things coming in, I'm going to resume live shows now that the connection is okay with guests. So click on the notification bell, please. Subscribe if you haven't done it yet, and see you very soon. Thank you very much, and it was a treat. Bye bye, for me at least.